Right, guys, welcome back. It's the Above Average FPL pod. My name is Adam, and as always, joined by Baker. How you doing, mate?
Very, very well, mate. Pleasure to be here.
This time round. If you're listening to this, you can hear Baker for the first time. Everybody couldn't hear him the first time, so doing it just a little bit again. Welcome to everyone in the YouTube chat. Hello again from me, and hello from Baker. Top of the league is what you said. Nobody heard you.
Nobody heard it, but I said top of the league. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Premier League, not FPL League.
Not FPL leagues. No. Cool. Right. So admin stuff again. You can follow us both on Twitter at Above Average FPL on Twitter at Baker FPL 343. Podcast available on Google, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. Also youtube.com/Above Average FPL, where we will be streaming all of our content this season. I think we've committed to that now. So that's all good. And the podcast is supported by our good friend Dan. Dan is at CryptoBlockDan on Twitter. He works as games analyst for a play-to-earn crypto company, or a play-to-earn crypto company in the game space. So go over and check him out. He's in the chat at the moment as well. He's saying hello. He's had a smashing week, 75 points. So go give him a follow. He's a good lad. And if you want to know more about the crypto side of things, then just ask him a few questions.
And FPL, mate. He's had a smashing
FPL,
week.
evidently.
Yeah. Smashing first week, mate. But
I mean, in terms of being in our league, Jamie won our league last year, as we all know. He may be in here a little bit later, I'm not sure. But UAT148 is the code. Join the link. Auto join link is in the description below. And we will be opening that up until the World Cup, and then we're locked for the season. So, yeah. I'm going to have to say hello to Ashiraya in the chat again. She's up until 2:30 in the morning listening to us here. So thank you very much to you. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. I need to cough, mate. So do you want to take us away with what's happened, the story of the week, I guess, so far?
Will do, mate. Will do. I mean, it's a big week. It's a strong week for the template. We've said it a lot of times. I don't really get it wrong. But where do we want to start? Well, let's start with what it means for you and anyone in terms of where their score is. And I think the really good tweet from Live FPL, they collate how people are doing and what's going on. And the overall average was nearly 57 points. What they called the early managers. So if you went on Live FPL this week, you would have seen like your effective ownership didn't look like what it was against the game. And what they did is they registered the first 10,000 IDs. So those are all people that doesn't necessarily mean you're a great manager, but you're keen, you're involved, you're active, certainly, to get there as that. Now there might be some that just were lucky, they just happened to see it as the FPL sign came up. But signs are they're pretty good managers. They got about 66 average. They also do some tracking called elite managers or legendary managers, which is a series of people that they know and they know the IDs for, and they got an average of 67. And so I think when you're looking at your score this week, if you've got above 67, you've got money in the bank. Because these are good managers. They'll come for everybody at some point during the season.
Yeah.
And the further ahead of them you can get, you might stay ahead. If you're behind, then that's your target, really. So that's the first target to look at 67. Don't necessarily look at your top of your mini leagues and all those ones. Look at 67 and think, where am I in relation to that? And then think about how you're not 67, if you're not. So is it you're not 67 because you didn't captain Salah or Haaland? Is it that you don't have one of those two? And if the answer's yes, well, that's your first port of call, isn't it? Is I think they've just shown everyone kind of knew they were going to be the two prime assets for the game. Some of us, like me and you, banked in a transfer of Kane, and you just go, well, have we seen enough? Yes.
I still think I would be loath to say I made a bad decision in having Kane for that first game week. I mean, like most models had him as the highest scoring player of the week prior to the game. So it's not like I think we're making a bad decision. I think, you know, banking that transfer obviously puts us at a disadvantage, and we needed to basically expect Kane to outperform Haaland in a way that you know, maybe wasn't overly realistic, but I still feel comfortable with my decision that I made. And then I mean, Tottenham scored 4 goals, for Christ's sake. When was the last time that happened and Kane wasn't involved in anything?
Regardless of any of it, though, if you knew that Ben Johnson was going to play centre back, would you have taken that risk?
No, probably not.
So if I was looking at 2 lessons early this time, is we didn't really look at Kulusevski, but I didn't know that. I didn't even look at the thought that Gineppo might play left wing back. Like that would just be completely unoccupied. And then if I look at Haaland, as soon as I saw the lineup, I was like, this is a problem. This is a problem. They've got no defence. They had 2 keepers on the bench. So I think we spend a lot of time looking at our own team, but we should really as well make sure we're really keeping an eye on the other teams and think, what are those matchups? Because there was some exploitable stuff. And I knew that Aguerd was out. I knew that Diop kind of wants off, but I hadn't really played it out of what might happen.
What would it look like in West Ham's defence?
Yeah, and so I do think I do need to just make sure is that when there's those big chances of something you're going against, like we knew we were going against a big owned player in Erling, make sure you know what you're going up against. Because I hadn't done enough work on that bit. That's my regret.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
That's enough. But look at it where you're at. Look at those 67 points. You know, so I'm on 62 points and I think I'm 5 points off. I'm just effectively saying I'm now 9 points off. Because I'm not 9 points off, but I'm basically going to take Haaland into my team now for Kane. So I'm immediately a transfer behind everybody.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm like, okay, if I need to take a hit, then I'm effectively 9 points behind. Just say where you get to later on in the week, but I'm just comfortable to say can't go against that today.
Yeah,
but well, lucky, you know, having Kane is 15 shots.
Yeah, I mean, loads, just so many chances in that game, and you know, he was. I thought he played all right, to be fair.
Yeah, some
got himself
had
into
the
good
opportunity to
opportunities.
give him
Exactly,
the balls,
that's the one I'm thinking of as well. So yeah, there's a lot.
And he should have a pen.
Did I miss
but we'll get to that. You didn't. No, you tweeted about it, mate. How was that not a pen?
Oh yeah. Trying to think.
You definitely didn't miss that at the Tottenham game. That you should have had a pen. I'm
trying to remember it anyway. But
hey, mate, there's a number 9. He plays for Man City. There's Mo Salah, who's Mo Salah.
Yeah,
we should muck about.
No, true. But there was some fun. There was some fun results out there. I think a few results that surprised people as well.
Yep.
Not sure whether it's put any other names on our sort of radar so much. Maybe a couple, but definitely some cheaper options to think about. Perhaps
plenty.
Which is good.
Plenty. So many good scores in our chat, mate. Everyone
comes
and joins us to tell us how well they're doing.
No, that's fine. Well, that's because you said you sent a tweet out saying, "Come and join us. Tell us how well you did." Basically, and because I've started putting them up on the screen, I think I'm just getting more and more and more. So, Carl, you're the last person I'm going to put on screen. Rolling transfer with Haaland. Oh, did you hear that, by the way? Did you hear that? Apparently, it's only Haaland in Norway. Apparently, outside of Norway, it's Haaland. And he wants it to be Haaland.
He's basically said, if you're from England, you can say Haaland.
Just say Haaland. So, cool.
Let's just...
Haaland.
Are we going to be a Haaland pod? Should we just say we're a Haaland pod? Because it's easy.
Yeah,
we'll do it.
Yeah.
We will do it. Games. I suppose for those that are new this season, this is what we do. Is we'll work through the games, we'll talk through what we see from a football perspective, and we'll talk through what we see from an FPL perspective. That's our job.
That's what we do.
We're the early boys.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. So there are the results. I mean, the obvious ones that stick out as surprises is obviously Fulham Liverpool was obviously a surprise. I think everyone was extremely impressed with the way that Fulham came out at Liverpool. I thought they were very strong in the press in particular, and it just made them really uncomfortable at the back. Mitrovic, absolute bully. Was
Beautiful.
ridiculous to watch. Obviously, Bournemouth. I mean, we were looking at Bournemouth for a, as a target team, and they've come out and done a number on Villa, which is interesting. Newcastle just absolutely steamrolled Forest, which was I don't know, to be expected, I guess. And then I guess moving on to today's games, late drama from Brentford, the Silva.
I love that Leicester don't change, mate. Like we said last season, they start a 1-1, and it just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if they change formation, doesn't matter what they do, they start a 1-0. It's good fun. And Man United, I think, are virtually the same, that they sort of start a 1-0. You kind of back them to score in every game, but you never back them to clean.
Yeah.
And then the juggernaut to finish us. So should we start? Should we go reverse order?
Reverse order. Let's do it. The ones that are fresh in our minds.
There he is, just looking at us.
They just I can't put into words how comfortable that was from a performance. Everything about it was just clean. It was well drilled. It wasn't the same City that we don't see that's purring and humming after about 4 or 5 games. It was like West Ham were squashed. They were literally squashed.
One of the things that I think is, for those that have, again, been with us a while, but I've seen on YouTube, we like to use Crabstat graphics. And one of the things we tend to use on it, and it's worthwhile flicking through this, even if you do audio listen, to just flick through the graphics and see what we're showing here. But it shows you the accumulation of XG. A key notice point, the left side is not a scale. So you'll see ones where the top is 2 XG, and you'll see ones where the top is like 1 XG. So try and peer in and see what the left-hand side says. But Man City were one of those teams that used to accumulate a lot of chances. Accumulate. It's very interesting that with a number 9, we're starting to see some bigger chances, bigger chances. It's almost like it's just to get to that position where our big boy is going to score.
The ridiculous thing about that second goal as well is I don't think anybody who watches football ever thought he was going to miss.
No.
And that's what, a 0.2 XG chance? He's never going to miss that.
Never going to miss it.
And 0.2
genuinely
XG.
never
And
miss it.
And we not that we need to wonder why he outperforms XG, but I mean that's just like, he's a ridiculous finisher.
Yes. that is.
It's just there's the revolutionary comment of the stream. That is, he is a ridiculous finisher. And
just a ridiculous player, mate.
But if you compare it to last week when they were playing against Liverpool, the runs was the same. The runs were pretty similar. I think there was one in the first half against Liverpool, which he made, and De Bruyne played the ball and it got cut out, it got intercepted. But the same ball went through for him for that second goal today. Just perfection. And the way he drove away from the defenders from the penalty as well, ridiculous.
Yeah. He had 5 shots in total, 4 of which were classed as big chances.
Oh, maybe 1 second. I'm just going to go and transfer him in for Kane.
Yeah, should we both just do it now? Like, should we just do the first pod of anyone's this season to transfer, make a transfer live on screen?
Let's see if we can do that. So
Kane to Haaland. Next step, press confirm. There is my first transfer of the season. Done.
Oh man, hold on, let me just do that right now. So I'm gonna do it right here. Yeah, you've done it.
There is now.
Yeah, I've even chucked it on the screen, even blocking us out, everything. It's going over the top. There you go. Here's my team. Here's the transfers. Let's take Kane out. Let's put him in. HAA. Add player. Make transfers. Don't play the free hit, Adam. Confirm transfers. Done. There we go. It's done. It's captain, and we're out. There you go. So
that's 2 Spurs fans. Off we go. Thanks very much.
Straight out. Thanks very much. Cheers, Harry. Oh, amazing.
It's a different world, and they are out there to help him. they are proper out there to help him. I did notice all of the midfield guys had some serious baseline days. So Foden 19 on the baseline,
Mad.
Grealish 19 on the baseline, ahead of De Bruyne. So maybe that's the fact that with that front three now is a creative hub around him. De Bruyne would have been a different story if he wasn't offside. If he wasn't offside for that goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there. Cancelo was his usual self, 15 baseline with a booking. Absolute animal.
Ederson sneaking in on the bonus as well, which was
because they were just so dominant that he was passing the ball around left, right, and centre.
Yeah, exactly.
Just phenomenal.
Just pass.
Yeah.
And did you notice that there were no saves from the West Ham keeper at all? They just didn't miss.
Because you can see it. They've worked it into positions where it wasn't there. And the only time they didn't, they missed it. They missed the chance. Hilarious bit at the end when Ake did that crappy header off, which I knew had taken him down one on the bonus for an off-shot target and was going to bring Cancelo in.
Oh, really?
That was
I remember seeing
thing.
it. I wasn't 93rd
minute.
Context
he just
of bonus,
flicks a header off for a goal kick.
Yeah,
and I was like, yes.
You're all over it for bonus. Refresh. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the fullback still, when Grealish plays, it is a concern for me on Cancelo from an attacking return piece. It is definitely
because of the volume of ball that he deals with.
Yeah, and that he hangs that left side, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Foden wants to come into the middle, but when he's on there, so just need to watch that. I thought that Foden would come in for Grealish, but they didn't. They kept it there. He's all about rhythm, Pep. I would be very surprised if he changes that team.
Yeah,
maybe Bernardo for Gundo, but
yeah, I don't think he needs to at the moment. I mean, you've got a few weeks until things are kicking in terms of the midweek games and obviously Champions League, etc. So I don't think, and it's, when we're speaking with Ivan as well, I mean, they need to continue to work with Haaland to make sure that he's still, I mean, not that he's still going to be making those runs because he is, that they can still keep finding him in those positions.
Yeah,
really, I think it's just going to be all over that.
It's just about finding the man down the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at his touch map, where he is, what he's doing. I mean, God, it's just...
Yeah.
It's just big.
Yeah.
We might struggle to not cap him for a while.
Yeah, like every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could, in theory, you could do. I mean, he's just rocked up 13 points. Really, really straightforward as well, isn't it?
The good news with forwards is that I don't want to take this man on. I'm not going to take this man on, but a high scoring mid can still deliver the 20 points, the 25 points. Saying that, this guy's scored 13 points in his debut away at West Ham.
Yeah.
Who's to say he can't score 3 or 4 goals? And you see his interview. Have you seen his interview at the end?
No.
You probably didn't see that.
No.
One, he swore in it, which is brilliant. But 2, it was almost like, no, I didn't get my hat trick. Like, I just can't see it not happening.
Yeah.
So, have you got any doubts about captaining him in game week 2? Let's just get that off the table. No, it's just done.
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 And I'm happy enough having Cancelo and Ederson as well. Ederson should get 6 and Cancelo will get 6 plus whatever. So
yeah.
Okay, I'll deal with that. So yeah, I don't think there's much else to take from it.
Nah, move on.
I think it's a bit harsh on West Ham. I don't think there's much you can take from it just because they weren't in the game at all.
Well, they're light. They're light on players, mate.
Yeah.
They're light at the back. They're light on players. It's going to cause a problem for them. Bowen, we talked about Bowen on our bonus pod and started getting a bit excited about him. Bowen had 5 successful passes today. He lost the ball 10 times. He got dribble passed by Cancelo 4 times down that wing.
Yeah.
That's how Cancelo basically got into the bonus because he just kept walking past him. Bowen was like, what's the point?
I think a lot of them were like, what's the point in near the end of the game? They just couldn't get near the ball.
They just let it go pedestrian pace, didn't they? It said, stuff this.
It just went, forget it.
Stuff this. And they're a monster team.
Yeah.
Monster team. Where we going?
we're going to United, I think. So I haven't seen this game. I haven't seen the Leicester game. So
Oh, yeah, he was out
I
playing golf with your old man, weren't you?
Sorry.
Did you win?
Yes.
Important.
Yeah.
It's important when your dad lives, about 500 miles away, that when he comes up,
You beat him.
you beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, watching this game, like,
has Pascal Gross scored two tap-ins?
Yeah.
Is that what he's done, basically?
Yeah, I've done a draft league for the first time ever, and I managed to pick up Pascal Gross, so I was quite happy about that. But when we look at Brighton versus Man United as teams, Potter is a really good manager.
Yeah.
Really good manager. Ten Hag's a really good manager. We might see good stuff on the training pitch. We might see stuff in friendlies. But this is the Premier League, mate. He's been doing it for 2 years. Those players don't need to be told what to do. They're there. They were in so many good positions so often. Brilliant. Absolutely class work, I thought, all round from Brighton. The movement was excellent. No, they're not. They've got some very good players. I mean, Cucurella has gone for 60-odd million for them. They've got some very good players, but they've not got better players than Man United. If I was a Man United fan, the one thing I'd be excited about is look what good coaching does to you. Yeah, as Spurs fans will say, is remember Burnley. Remember Conte being close to tears. They will drive. Man United players will drive Ten Hag close to that, and he's quite a cold fella in the old press conferences.
Yeah.
This is a well-drilled team, and they cruised. Really, I know that they got back in it, but I felt like they always knew they were going to get the men behind the ball to do the stuff. Even when Rashford was going to score, Sanchez pulled out an amazing save. It turned out to be offside, but if not, it was the save of the weekend. It was genuinely ridiculous how good it was. Welbeck works so hard up top. So hard. He had the highest baseline of any striker this weekend. Baseline of 11. That's a big baseline for a striker. Really, really good effort. Man U are going to take a while to get going.
How did they set up in terms of who plays in? Because did Rashford play at 9?
They played Rashford, they played Sancho, they played Eriksen, and then
I'm looking at this and it's saying like Bruno's playing. Look at SofaScore. Bruno's playing like left midfield or something like that. And
kind of is, but then Eriksen was kind of there too, and none of it's helped. That Martial injury does not help at all.
No.
Eriksen was.
Has Cavani retired?
He's gone.
He's gone.
Ronaldo
came on after 50 minutes.
Probably the disappointment for me was Sancho. That was the one that I was kind of hopeful, but he's been sick, so maybe he wasn't quite ready to come back, but they had no choice in it.
I'm just sure.
But I got to the second half and I was like, oh yeah, Sancho. I know you like the old gimmick say, oh, is that person playing? But I was genuinely like, is that person playing? But yeah, Rashford's going to get chances, and he'd get more chances once Ronaldo came on the pitch. He suddenly was a much better player. So Ronaldo came on like 50 minutes. Once they had no choice in the matter. And then they had a really dominant spell, and I thought they're going to get back into this. It looked like about 70 minutes they were going to be there, and then it just died again. And they were just comfortable. Good team.
Good fixtures as well, Brighton. So
good team, good fixtures. I don't think we go there.
No, I think it's
just either team's assets.
No.
Either team's assets.
No. No, and to be fair, I mean that's one thing I was very close to having 2 United assets. I think I would have had I think I was going to have Martial to start with, but then I kind of wanted Wilson. But yeah, I did have Sancho.
A different game.
Oh God, I don't know why I'm yawning. Jesus.
Well, that's enough, isn't it?
Yeah,
to move to the next game. But yeah, they're good. Sanchez got a bonus point despite losing a clean sheet. That's good for him.
It just shows
that's very good. 19 on his baseline.
Little there was going on apart from apart from Pascal Gross hogging all the bonus.
So we moved to Leicester, Brentford.
Yeah, this is an odd chart, actually. Is this just a bit funky? Or?
I don't know what's going on here. But, I mean, Leicester. Like, what were they thinking? So Leicester set up weird because Barnes is out.
Yeah.
So they effectively have 3 at the back. And then Castagna and Justin were really high, incredibly high. Like, can't be higher. And I'm thinking in game week 3, Justin 4.5. If I was wildcarding Justin, if he's going to stay at that left wing back, is a potential option because he was so far up there. But where then there's just Vardy on his own, you kind of lose the Vardy counter when you've got 3 central midfielders. So you've got Tielemans, Dewsbury Hall, and Maddison, and then you've got wing backs, and then you've got 3, and it's like
you've also got Ndidi in there as well, haven't you?
I've got Ndidi in their midfield as well. So you've kind of got like 4 central midfielders in front of 3 at the back, and then 2 wing backs, and then it just gets a bit weirdly congested. So if you actually look at the like heat maps of Justin or Castagna, it's really hard, heavily involved between like 50 and 80 yards.
Yeah.
But never really getting there because they just sort of hand it off to these creative guys like Tielemans, like Maddison, and like Dewsbury Hall. So it meant that Vardy was just a decoy, didn't really do anything. Vardy got an assist, which was from the kickoff, basically a 30-yard, 2-yard sideways pass, like a Harry Winks assist, where you just sort of tap it to the person, then he bangs one from 30 yards and it goes in the bottom corner. And you're like, okay, he's actually got a return from doing absolutely nothing. Maddison got his from a corner, which Castagna did a great near post header. And yeah, I'm not really sure what's happening. But when you've got that midfield 4, they were completely in control of the game. Then Rodgers does Rodgers things in that he's like, we're completely on top. On the 73rd minute, he decides, I'm going to take off Dewsbury Hall and I'm going to put on Patson Daka. Well, look at the XG chart. Look at the XG chart for Brentford when he decides that I'm going to go make some substitutions. Like, literally, they just took over the game. They brought on Thomas Frank, good manager. He brings on Josh Da Silva of 60. He brings on Lewis Potter to give him a bit of width at the same time. He then brought on, I don't want to say his name, Davis Loglu or something, the 4.5 forward, whatever he is in the game. And he just went, I'm going to push him up, push high. They've taken a cog out the wheel in the centre midfield. I'll overload them. And they just dominated him. And Tony missed a sitter, could have easily, that big one there that would have made it 2 at the time. And then they got the one at the end. Thoroughly deserved, but it was all a Brodge fuck up.
Think we're going to see a lot more of that?
They just can't manage games, mate. You can't manage games. They never keep it clean. They don't know what they're doing. They're fun.
They're fun. Yeah, and they're not going to bring any more. They're not bringing any more players in. We know that. So what they've got is what they've got, basically. I don't know. Are they going to lose like Tielemans and Maddison? And I mean, if they're not gone now, they're going in January and stuff like that, won't they?
I think Chelsea will I think Leicester will sell for Fafana because they don't keep clean sheets no matter how good the defender is. So you might as well get the 80 million for the defender.
Well,
and just keep conceding 2 a game.
It's not like they've not done that before, have they?
Exactly.
Previous of doing that.
How do they keep selling defenders for 80 million when they don't keep clean sheets? This has happened.
You just can't defend. Just keep selling defenders for basically 100 million quid.
So stupid. So bizarre.
Amazing.
Right. So I think Barnes is about 2 weeks, so maybe the shape changes again and stuff. But
it still feels like a hard avoid for me.
Hard avoid.
There's more value in players like going for even like Dunk or something like that than even like Justin and Castagna, in my mind. Even at 4.5, just because you're relying on attacking returns from Leicester. You're not getting these. You're not looking at other fullbacks or wing backs and going, you know what, I'll take the attacking returns as a bonus because they're good for clean sheets.
Yeah.
You know, obviously different price brackets in terms of Trent and James and all that sort of fun, but you know, even at that price, they're the ones that you want to lock in these like home clean sheets. You're not really fussed about the attacking side of things. If you can lock in home clean sheets against mid to low level teams for 4.5 million, you can rotate the shit out of them. Then that's where the money's well spent. That's why you always get these like 4.5 rotations that just work in. If you want to go with that for anybody that is not on the old big at the back and all that sort of stuff.
I said Justin because of maybe the KWP sort of back post header thing for Southampton in 3, but
yeah,
if they keep playing Gineppo at left wing back, then Castagno at 4.5 is also fun. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think you can do much with him. Maddison took corners from both sides. That's good. That's good. With Tillman's on the pitch, that's good news for Maddison owners. I think you're getting
set pieces, all set pieces everywhere.
All set pieces, play all the minutes, not in Europe. He could be just a good set and forget. If you were panicked into like an early wild card now, I think I'd be tempted.
15 weeks, yeah, you could stick something in there that's just gonna.
Yeah, Maddison, I think is still in the game. But again, I mentioned at the start of this one, look to scale. This was actually only 1.0 XG versus 0.5 XG. Yeah. It's actually not a big game. Not as fun as a normal Leicester one.
Some good finishing then? Do we say there was some good finishing?
There were good finishes. Yeah. They were good finishes. Bumo as a forward, just a note, he's 6.0. He's got the midfielder type baseline at 10. If he scores, he'll get bonus.
Fair enough.
So, but he doesn't score. He scored 4 goals last season.
Post,
yeah.
Cool. We're going over to Saturday?
Let's go Saturday night.
This is the worst graphic of the lot. The colours are just horrific. It's like anything yellow is Chelsea.
Honestly, audio listeners are winning on this one that they don't see the bright yellow of Chelsea.
It's blinded me.
What you just need to know is that Everton without a forward just.
There was a tweet. What was it? There was a tweet that said, "Oh my God, so and so has been so underwhelming," and of talking. What is it? The BBC may have said it. Who came on for Delhi?
Oh, it was someone.
Who came on for Delhi
that said someone's been so underwhelming.
Someone's been so underwhelming. And talking of underwhelming,
also underwhelming.
Talking of underwhelming, here comes Dele Alli.
Yeah, horrific. That was Sky Sports official commentary. Bloody hell, mate. Bloody hell. I mean, that tells you the problems.
Dwight McNeil on his debut. That was it, yeah. Dwight McNeil on his debut. Underwhelming debut. Talking of underwhelming, here's Dele Alli.
I actually felt that was really tough on that was just a play on words, actually, to have a go at Delhi. It is because actually I thought Dwight McNeil was one of the few half decent points for that Everton game, is that he did work hard and he was involved.
It was crazy. What's the expectation? What's the expectation on an Everton winger with no forward against Chelsea? I mean, like,
exactly.
What's the yardstick?
Exactly. Gordon was trying to run the line, and he was doing a good job.
I thought he did all right, to be fair.
They're up against right. Everyone will talk about, if you said best centre back in the league, right? Most people would say
Van Dijk.
Second, a lot of people would say Diaz.
Yep.
I'm telling you, mate.
It's Thiago Silva.
What is he? 39 or whatever he is? 36, yeah. 37.
He was a mountain, wasn't he?
He was just incredible. Incredible, mate. Like, respect to the guy that he's still at this age. There was a 2-on-1 and his positioning, you were like, this is never on. 2-on-1 against him. And it was just like, you know what, sometimes you watch 5-a-side and you played it and stuff and you're like 2-on-1 and you're up front, you've made a run and you look back and you're like, I know he's too good for these two. I'm not going to bother running. I'm just going to wait for him to pass the ball back to me, and then I'll just tap it in. That's what it felt like. It felt like a 5-a-side game where you thought, I can just stay here because that ball's coming back. It's not going to be a goal. Yeah. And it just intercepts it, and off they go.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. He was so good against a young try-hard like Gordon, they didn't stand a chance tomorrow. Grant Gordon against him, he was gold. And then Koulibaly is a player.
That said, there's opportunity to get behind Chelsea. There's
Absolutely.
definitely opportunity to get behind Chelsea, and Gray and Gordon were picking up the ball wide a lot. The problem they just had nobody there.
Yeah,
literally nobody there. Interesting for next week, that one. But
yeah, which you can take that and say normal services resume, mate. Like Chilwell was not interested in left back at all, and that's the great thing for Chelsea is that they could now say we're going to play Cooch as a left wing back, and then actually we have got the cover that we're not going to leave that hole. We have to remember that when we're starting to think of, well, could we get him behind? If I'm up against Kulusevski this week, I'm not sure I'd want to play Chilwell. I think I'd be more tempted to probably play Cooch and Koulibaly that side, because Koulibaly was so good. And Chilwell, yeah. He does what Chilwell does, but he also gets in the box and gets a penalty for him. And that's the thing for Chelsea, is they need as much goal threat as they need. So I as much as I was worried about Reece James, because Reece James played in 3 different positions. He played right wing back, then he went to left wing back when Chilwell first came off. Then he went to centre back.
Yeah.
Once Cooch came on, and I'm like, is that a problem? And
I don't know.
Definitely is a problem for it's a problem with his baseline, because he was comfortably on for free bonus. Comfortably on for it, and then he stopped earning anything. The only way he was still earning his bonus was from taking corners.
Yeah,
that's a benefit of for James, is that Chilwell plays or Cucurella plays ahead of Alonso. Alonso used to take quite a lot of corners. Without Alonso on the pitch, James will get more corners. He had the left side completely to himself.
Yeah, he did.
And then once Matt went off, I think he had both sides.
Yes, he definitely took a couple on the right hand side as well.
Yeah. So interesting watch. Interesting to see Mount come off early. I did not expect that, but maybe it's a sign when we get to Champions League that it's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still not convinced on anything other than Reece James. Just let's say having one from them. I don't see the. I thought it was interesting that Sterling was playing essentially number 9.
Yeah, I mean Havertz, like literally not in the game.
Yeah, but Sterling
all in the game. All in the game. If you look at Havertz and you look at his touch map, it looks like he's in the box a lot. And this is one of the ones where some of the stats can be a bit noisy and don't really get there. Is that there's a difference between having touches in the box and having touches that matter. You felt like if anyone was going to score, it was going to be Sterling.
Yeah.
It never felt like Kai was going to score, but his touch map doesn't look horrendous.
Yeah.
Sterling's just too expensive at 10 million right now. They're not we've said it many times, they're not a 2xG team. You can't have a £10 million player that's not a 2xG team. Not with 5 defenders, because they're gonna dominate bonus and they're gonna grind out.
And they're gonna grind out and they're gonna get the returns as well.
Yep.
Okay.
3 o'clock.
Nothing from Everton at all. It's difficult for Everton, I think.
Nah. It looks like they're getting kind of Cody and Onana, the centre midfielder. So that might make a difference, but there's no goals, mate.
No. Okay. Tottenham.
Okay.
So where do we go from here?
Well, we took 25 minutes for Tottenham to get going.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So for audio people, we're on to Tottenham Southampton, and after 25 minutes, Tottenham are 1-0 down. This is the good stuff for Antonio Conte. If Antonio Conte goes down, a goal, that's when it's almost guaranteed you're going to get 4 or 5 in a game, one way or another. It's like, oh, you want to go to Ward? Oh yeah, well we'll go. We'll just go, and that's what they did, and get themselves back in it. Continually, just push. Earlier in the week, there was a lot of people that was on Doherty and Perisic.
Yep.
We stayed on Perisic, despite the fact that we kind of knew that he probably wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
And we went on it because we knew he's the much better player. And we went on it because he's the leader, that he's, Conte talks up, all of that stuff.
We also went on it because
if he played,
if there was any chance of him being, even for 30 minutes, he was going to be a threat. Now, I don't think he was really a threat in those 30 minutes too much, but the game was already gone past him by then. The game had already gone.
And we've seen that in the City game tonight, at 2-0.
Yeah.
It's the first game of the season. They are tired. Teams will manage that last 20 minutes if they can. If they can, they will. So that didn't help him.
Yeah.
That didn't help him. Once it was already 4 by the time he comes on.
Yeah, exactly.
It did not help him.
But what we need to obviously call out is the positioning. The positioning of Sessegnon, where we expect Perisic to be.
Yeah.
Etc.
But we didn't expect Sessegnon to play as well as he did. Now, we've talked up that he's been doing the weight training. We've been talking up that he's doing the explosive stuff.
Yeah, but look, you're talking about positions that Conte wants his players to be in.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing. There wasn't anything difficult about. There wasn't anything difficult about his header. Honestly.
No.
He's 7 yards out. There's nothing difficult about that as a skill for a professional footballer. I'm sorry, but there isn't. So, I think he played well enough. He was in the right positions. He was an absolute nuisance for Kyle Walker-Peters.
Absolute nuisance.
Ripped him inside out.
Let's ask the question, mate. Do you think he starts against Chelsea?
Sessegnon?
Well, either way.
Oh, well, yeah, either or. I mean, it's difficult.
Not on the fence, mate. Go now. What do you think?
Sessegnon.
Yeah. How do you not?
It's too. I would go Sessegnon.
But Conte is a winner. Now, the only thing I would say, he is a winner, mate, and
there's no sentimentality.
Big game.
Yeah. Just
go back to Thiago Silva. Go back to Koulibaly. Go back to Reece James, Azpilicueta. Azpilicueta, Reece James, and Thiago Silva are the 3 people that you're battling for that right-hand side of defence.
Yeah.
It needs a lot more than it needs against Kyle Walker-Peters and Bednarek and Ketchup. Is that his name? I don't know what his name is. It wouldn't surprise me if he plays. It genuinely wouldn't surprise me if he plays.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sell him. I still think I wouldn't sell him.
I don't think it's worth booking. This is what I said. Pre the game was. It's not a booking transfer for me. I mean, I wanted to have him in for beyond the Chelsea game anyway.
Yeah, so you had to be comfortable in putting him in that you knew he was likely to be booked. I tweeted out Friday where it was and said is if you're going to keep him in, be really comfortable with your decision, no matter what the outcome is here on this one. And I just think you just got to go with that now and stay with him. We did not talk about Kulusevski. Do you want to talk about Kulusevski?
What do you want to say? I mean, the fact that, as you say, Djenepo was so bad that I don't think it's the fact that Djenepo was bad, but he found himself outside of him, inside of him, past him, almost at every opportunity we went forward.
He did.
Every opportunity we went forward. And if there was a chance that he wasn't going to be able to get past him, he was cutting inside and he was whipping those balls into danger.
He was
constantly.
It was class. He was given a platform, but he's such a good player, mate. Like, he is so good, so fun, so young. Like, the balls that he was putting in were
just
outstanding.
Yeah.
Like, outstanding. And then the finish is just, he's on it.
I think to anybody, and going to a football point of view, I think to anybody who thinks that we might have had not a great transfer window because we haven't bought in anybody that starts ahead of the 11 that we had as such, just look at the impact on the players when they realise they've actually got some competition. And whilst I don't think Richarlison is direct competition for Kulusevski, there's enough that says Richarlison can play on the right that pushes Kulusevski to be better and gives him the opportunity to rest when he needs to. I think the transfers that we've made will make us better all over the pitch. Now, my concern, and maybe I'm doing this on a smallest sample size ever, is that are Kane and Son the ones? And I just the way we played, I can't see the answer being yes, but it's difficult. I mean, I think I said yes.
There were two really good opportunities to combine.
They did.
Three chances actually to combine in the end.
But still, when does this happen? When does there were 7 returns on the table?
Yeah.
Son got 1, Kane got none.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just mad. It's just mad.
It changes so quickly, this game. But
we just have to be aware of that, though. I mean, fine, if we call it a small sample size, say that Kane and Son, whatever. I'm not saying that Kane and Son aren't going to get goals or that, but 4-1 used to be like 6 returns between them.
Yeah,
that's what it was. 4 goals was 6 returns between Kane and Son. Somebody else gets a couple. It wasn't 1 return. Now, that's just something to watch, because if it splits down to like 50-50 on average, or even less than that, then we could be looking at a situation where it doesn't funnel all through Kane and Son, and we need to make sure that we're on, or we don't know who we're going to be on. Like, are we just going to be on Kulu as our 8 million, or are we going to just stick with Perisic? Or are we just going to go completely without?
It's kind of the next stage for Tottenham, isn't it? Like, Tottenham have to be more than a 2-man team.
Yeah.
And
maybe
they were, but Kulusevski, his baseline is so strong. It is 18. Then he scores.
Yeah.
And he assists. It is big. Set pieces were good. So we've got a new set piece coach.
Yep.
You could see it.
Yep.
Much more movement, much more involvement. Really good for Son as an asset. You feel like he'll get an assist every game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if he scores and gets an assist every game, hey, he's in a good place.
Just a bit of added confidence for Diaz to stay where he was.
Definitely. Absolutely, definitely.
I don't think he would have stayed there under any previous manager. He'd have been back.
Some really good work. Really, really good work there. That all doesn't sound good for Kane, doesn't it? Defenders are in good places. Son's got all the set pieces.
He's got to score. He just has to score lots of goals.
He's got to score. He might have to score 2 now.
Yeah.
Which is unheard of for him. So yeah, it's really difficult to say that we're not like massive on Spurs assets when we just scored 4, but it's bloody hard.
We're just not yeah. I know we've both come off Kane, but we're not massive on the premium ones. The rest are interesting because you still get into Spurs attack without spending shit tons of money. So hopefully that's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on before people accuse us of being some sort of Tottenham pod, which we might be. Right. What's the stat here? The stat here is 1 in 6, isn't it?
1 in 6, mate. We said it last season. Fabian Schär, mate. He does what he does.
I mean, the combined XG of all of his goals that he's ever scored is probably about 0.3.
Thunder bastard. What a thunder bastard that man is. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
I love the fact that it's an identical goal as well to one he scored before. If you haven't seen that already, go find it. There's a tweet about it. It's brilliant.
They were good, mate. Now, it's very easy to say that probably Forest were bad. But what I really liked about Newcastle was the fluidity between how they played.
Yeah.
I'm going to sneeze.
Is that coming through places? I mean, like, It's like Joe Linton driving the force through the midfield,
What?
which is just nuts.
Just nuts, mate. I mean, it's no John Joe Shelby, basically. It's no one slowing the ball down.
Yeah.
Everybody is quick on the ball, is agile, can rotate in their position. Whether it be Joe Linton, Bruno, Willock, Almiron, ASM, like they move.
Guimaraes.
And they're always available. They want to be on the ball. Just, they were a joy to watch. Really joy to watch. And Wilson will just stay in that box.
And he'll just take over.
Finish. It's a brilliant finish.
Yeah, really, really good. Really good. And to be fair, that's what I expect. I expect him to have chances like that. Near post runs. I expect him to be.
Yeah. He'll do lots of decoy runs for the others to do those two. But they will look to feed him eventually. Yeah. And he's got effectively now 7 people that can feed him in 2 fullbacks, who predominantly look to feed rather than score in Target and Trippier. And then you've got 5 guys around him that can feed him. So he'll get the chances if he keeps playing like that. Impressive. What I'd be really interested to see is like game week 3 against City.
Yeah.
When you're not playing with any form of DM, when you're playing with Willock, Bruno and Joelinton, they're like, can they fight fire with that? Because that'll be at St James's Park. By then, they might have 6 points out of 6 and tails are up. That'll be a really interesting game.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they do it a lot without the ball as well. I mean, obviously, they're not going to have anywhere near as much of the ball as they had against Forest. So,
Target was probably the surprise for me there. In that he,
I mean, it's gonna be tough next week for him. To be fair, like Potter's going to be ready for him.
Yeah,
and they've got to go all the. I mean, they've got to go all the way down to Brighton. It's a long way. It's a long way. They travel in style.
They'll fly down there, won't they?
Yeah, they'll fly down to Gatwick. But
yeah,
still, well, let's see if their bags get through. I don't know. But yeah, it's a long way. Still a long way to travel. Don't know.
But yeah, Target out bonusing Trippier was something I didn't expect.
Well, especially not after the first half.
No,
when Trippier was clear.
But it does show that I mean, most of their midfielders like to tuck in. You know, ASM's not a big crosser. Omran's not a big crosser. Willock and Joelinton, they're all tuckers. So those guys will provide a lot of width, a lot of crosses. They could be good options. Just at 5 million, it's quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
Well,
still waiting to see on Forest.
Forest is a difficult game, mate. Don't just nowhere near him.
No. Although Nico Williams did have a shot.
Nowhere near him.
I tried. Sorry, Mark.
I don't think you could even stick him in. Like,
well, you don't need to. We've got a couple of games to go until we get to one of those other bench fodders that might be useful, but we'll see.
Well, that's a dilemma for the Perisic owners when we get that one. That is a dilemma.
Leeds Wolves. Is that Wolves with the half decent XG?
It's not really either of them. Really, like they're both lively. Like
there's a lot of step overs and shit.
And I mean, Neto was highlight reel, just beautiful skills. He was really good.
He had a YouTube game, brilliant.
Yeah.
Is that why he paid 5.5 for him?
But ultimately, that's why he's 5.5 because he ain't going to return every week. Aronson was probably the standout 5.5, but didn't get the goal in the end.
Yeah, it was just unlucky with
goal. Yeah. But he was impressive with them. I think someone might come out of this. Rodrigo, Aronson, Neto, Podence. I think someone there might be an okay player, but I don't know.
Are there any good fixture runs for them though? I can't see that there's anything really at the moment. I mean, yeah, I don't really see the need to.
I think Bamford is definitely on the table, but I look at it and go,
I think I'm waiting until game week 5.
How many spots have you got though? Because
me none, unless I go Wilson to back.
And no one's going to at some point. So I think we all need to look at our teams and start thinking that way. I don't see anybody on Wildcard that won't have 3 forwards right now. I think we'll all. I think we'll all end up with it.
Well, everyone will be on Haaland, Jesus, Nunez. So
there's a Nunez option, isn't there? There's a Bamford option. There's a Wilson option now. We've got plenty up there, but are showing themselves. I would wait and see a little. I want to see that Bamford is definitely worth 1 million, 2 million more than the Aronsons and the Rodrigos of this world. Not convinced of it. I think it's the old thing with Wolves. They had good fixtures last season. You still didn't get a lot of points out of it. I think it'd be the same, but don't have big hopes on a 5.5 million midfielder. They're that for a reason.
Yeah.
What you don't want is for too long is to play too many of them.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Get some more money into the Benz midfield.
Move on,
mate. Bournemouth Villa.
We're not going to spend loads of time here either, to be fair, I don't think. Like, the game was rubbish.
They are right. We said in one of our pre-season pods about just remembering that Villa were bad. I think we've got some friends that are Villa fans, the Tom Freemans, the Adam Hopcroft, and we like
Craig,
these people.
Man on Craig. Yeah.
Man on Craig, Lee Jackson, they're all good people. And I feel like that almost taints me to say that they're not, but they do not punch their weight for their team.
They're better really good as individuals. Yeah. On paper, it's great. I mean, do you know why Watkins didn't start? Was that tactical?
What's the point in that? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand it.
It just makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Does not make sense at all to me. In that, maybe they were saying in it, but it seems silly.
Yeah,
it seems silly. I don't get it. I thought Bailey was the only bright spark for Villa in them, and then from Bournemouth's perspective, unless the Travers suddenly becomes an option as a 4.5, and it looks like it might be there, but I don't think it's there. Solanke to me doesn't look at the option actually, but I don't see enough of him in the Championship to know that. So my understanding from a Championship perspective was that he got all of the XG, but my understanding from watching this was that he was the foil for Moore. Moore was the main man up there. Really good header for his goal.
Yeah.
I don't want a foil. No interest in that at all. In terms of Solanke. So I don't know.
Do you think that's something to do with him being more mobile, more agile and being able to get around the pitch better than Moore, whereas Moore being
definitely
more the just the main striker type thing? I don't know.
What we don't know, and that's the bit where it's one game sample, is Forest were terrible. Forest went to St James's Park. Bournemouth and Fulham were great. They're used to winning. They play at home.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big influence on them.
Yeah.
So let's see how Bournemouth do when they have to go to City, and then we'll see.
I don't expect much for them when they go to City.
Yes,
I mean, their next 3 games are horrible.
If it was 3 or 4-0, you'd think that Bournemouth have done all right. But more so for Villa is that when Villa aren't, Villa have got another good game.
Yeah, Everton at home next.
They've got to turn it on.
They have to, because if they have to go to Palace with no points, then
that's a problem.
They could see themselves with no points after 6 games potentially.
Mm-hmm. They could easily,
because West Ham switched off today, so they could turn on again. And we'll probably see a different West Ham next week anyway, because it's against Forest, so they're going to get some. They're going to get some. What's the word? Like benefit or positive, whatever it is. But that's going to come from the confidence building, whatever you want to call it.
If you own Bailey, you just play him again next week, and you're done with that. Don't transfer him. Don't sub him. Just play him. Be done with it.
Well, do you not go with Andreas Pereira
over Bailey? Nah.
Okay.
No, I would definitely play Bailey over Pereira. Now, that's not to say that I wasn't impressed with Pereira.
But he was
because we're
playing
moving.
basically alongside Mitrovic for the first 20 minutes, half an hour.
He was. So
Let's see how
positions are good.
Yeah, positions are good. Let's see how he gets on against lower standard opposition. Does he play the same role? Because the game plan here clearly was press them high, press them hard, and make mistakes early, which they did.
They did, but
mate, look at
just
that.
They were
Liverpool were quiet for 50 minutes, 60 minutes.
If you go to Craven Cottage and go to it, it stuns you how tiny the pitch is. It's the smallest pitch you'll ever see.
Yeah.
It's really small. And
honestly, that factored into my thinking with not captaining Salah. Genuinely did. I was thinking small pitch. So, but
absolutely was my biggest concern about Salah was the small pitch.
Yeah.
And was also in my factoring for a little bit on the Diaz v Robbo thing, was thinking that I don't think fullbacks get a lot of width at Fulham because there's nowhere to go. So you get it. They ring that bell. They're all over you as the fans. That enables them to have a good start. It's completely the opposite of Wolves. Molineu's massive. It's a really weirdly open pitch. It's very, very wide. They're a 3 centre-back team. They've got it as wide as they can possibly have it.
Yeah.
That's different. That's a different situation for them, that they're going to be very, very stretched. That's where I'm really interested to see how they perform. Okay. Now, for Pereira, that might mean he gets more pockets, more room.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like in the home ones, that's where Mitrovic can be a real bully. Can't get away from him. He just stands in the box, bullies people, and he's all over it. So I think Pereira could be more fun away, maybe, than he is at home. So I'm not against people starting Pereira game week 2. And I think there's quite a number of different players you can look at it. So we've got a decision on, I think our decision is probably on Perisic. Both of us have got Perisic, and it's Perisic for me versus Pereira.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing. If I had Bailey, I would definitely be on Bailey.
Fair enough. Sporting says the pitch is not small. It's exactly the same as any other. It's the arena size. It kind of
feels it, though.
It feels it. There are dimension minimums and maximums that teams can use as a pitch. So there are definitely changes. They're not all the same. Don't think that they're the same.
Not the same.
You know, but Fulham's might be close to the minimum. I don't know. But if you go to somewhere like, it's not the same size pitch as Tottenham's, for example.
I'll prove that. Hit. don't worry about this one. But it's also the balls you hit. If you've played football, you've played on pitches, and there's certain ones where it's kind of hard to feel the diameters of the pitch.
Yeah.
And when there's a crowd right on it, you just feel like you're always going to whack the ball out of play. When it's bigger, you're almost more likely to go for it. So it's a mentality thing as much as anything else. It's how the crowds feel on it. If anyone goes and watches a game at Wembley, you'll see just the fact that you're further away and everything feels wider and stuff. It makes kind of these dull, spray the ball out kind of games. Fulham at home feels like Mitrovic will be a big asset.
Yeah, definitely.
But him and Pereira. Pereira's a gift. You've got no issue with playing him any week where you feel like you have to. Then Mitrovic, again, like I say, 3 forwards. I can see us going there. We just had a comment in the chat, by the way, that it's the second smallest pitch behind Baker.
Behind you,
behind Palace.
Yeah. I was just having a quick look at that. It's 100...
Which is the other one. You can see it when you watch it on the pitch on the screen.
It's 100 by 65, where Tottenham is 105 by 68. Now that doesn't feel big. Doesn't feel much bigger. But 5 meters. 5 meters is long.
15 foot, mate. That is big.
1.5 meters. That's the length of a person, like either side.
Exactly.
It's enough.
How often have we talked about Palace being difficult at home? We're going to get to that in a minute with Arsenal.
Yeah.
It does make a difference. It does make a difference. The stupid thing that Liverpool did is that they didn't match the game, and that Fulham know tight pitch, get your bully up top, he will cause mischief all day long. And they watched it happen. It's just arrogance from Klopp. The dry pitch. I mean, just look at Bobby versus Darwin in terms of their maps and what they did. And
the game changed.
Listen to this, watching it, go on SofaScore, click on Firmino, click on Darwin, see what the difference is. It's a joke, is you've got a weapon on tight grounds like Fulham, you just use them.
Well, yeah. I remember I was listening to him pre-game and he was talking about, I've got the two quick guys down the wide and it's good to have Bobby who's, a bit more controlled, and we've got the big guy, Nunez, and all this. He started talking all that sort of shit. And then he made absolutely no changes and just put Nunez on up top and just was like, well, and he was a difference maker. If you look at his chances, right? So he had one registered big chance, but I think we have another one that wasn't registered as a big chance, which was the knockdown for Diaz. The big chance created, the other big chance he created, I think must have been Salah's goal. Must have been. Which was was it a pass or was it miscontrol? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I thought it was a miscontrol because initially,
that
desperate early this season that I thought maybe intended target. It was a flicked on cross from Trent, and we were going to get it. And then I saw that Darwin had touched it. I was still looking for the Trent assist every little point we can get.
No.
But this is the problem with FPL managers guessing and seeing what's going to happen is we don't know how big the arrogance of that manager is. We kind of do. We know that Klopp, it's all his show. And if he says, nah, I ain't going to start. If he's already said to Bobby, you're getting the first 3 games. You're getting the first 5 games. Darwin, you ain't starting until Champions League.
Then that's what he'll do.
That's what he'll do. Like, we can all see what we think should happen, but we don't know. We don't know what's going on. What's stupid was that we kind of all knew 2 days before this match that Bobby was going to start. I had, week before the game, I had Darwin in my team.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
As soon as I knew that it was going to be Bobby, because all of the reliable sources told us that Bobby was starting, see you later.
Even though
you don't think Marco Silva gets those reliable sources as soon as they knew they had Bobby to play up against.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. Just play the weapon, mate. He's a monster. And when he gets in, it's gonna be like Haaland again.
He did exactly. He left. He started where he left it off last week. Exactly. Just like it's like it was the same game for him.
If you're a wild card in today, would you have Darwin Nunez in your team?
Yes.
Not a shadow of a doubt. In my team.
Yep. And the funny thing is last week I was questioning whether to have him in as a wait and see. You did say you had Jota vibes over him and 30 minutes would be fine. And you... Sorry. Sorry to remind you of that.
So I had Haaland in my team, and I said the Darwin, just don't worry about the minutes, just play him. Good.
Yeah, you said, yeah, exactly. And then you sent me a message saying, I'm not selling my soul, it's Harry fucking Kane. And then
good.
No Darwin. Where did you go instead of Darwin, by the way? Where did that money go?
Went back to Diaz.
Ah, okay.
Went back to Diaz. Which was unlucky. If anyone was a Diaz owner, mate, how on earth did you get points?
Yeah. He was very unlucky.
He was unlucky.
Yeah, we're running on time, so let's have a look at Palace Arsenal. I might have said something about Zinchenko.
We got that one wrong.
Not bringing him in, not actually having him. Full stop.
Just a big surprise in that he was a tuck in on the game against Sevilla when they won 6-0. He tucked in. We thought we were looking at inverted fullbacks, copy City, and then they basically came out and played 3-5-2. I want to call it.
Yeah.
With Zinchenko was as far forward as Saka on the right side. Saka was for that first half at least.
Yeah.
Saka was basically a right wing back, and Zinchenko was a left wing back, and then Martinelli and Jesus were up top. That's kind of how it worked. And Martinelli looked like the £6 million bargain of the world, and Zinchenko looked like the £5 million bargain of the world, and that's how it ended up finishing, I suppose, points wise.
I think Jesus was unlucky, to be fair, though, as well.
Jesus played really well, worked really hard.
I don't think the stats won't actually say how well he played comparatively to how well he did play.
Exactly right. And what they won't underestimate is how good Palace were.
Yeah.
From 40 minutes, you can see in this graph, they took over that game.
Yeah.
They absolutely dominated, knocked on the door, 2 ridiculous saves from Ramsdale. That's, for anyone who's got Ramsdale, that's a fantastic sign, because when he was on it at the start of last season, he was best keeper in FPL. For the second half of the season, he wasn't quite on it, and we all kept him, but he wasn't. They didn't get the points they were there, but he looked. If I was in Wildcard, I'd have Ramsdale immediately. Wouldn't be a consideration for me. If he'd just got one more save, he had 2 saves, 2 brilliant saves. If he just had 1 basic save, then more on top of that, he would have had 2 bonus easy. And there'll be times where he does, because that's the one downfall with Palace is the strikers. Eduardo and Mateta just not good enough. Just not good enough. They've got to find an option for centre forward. Everything else is good. Joachim Anderson was just unbelievable at the back. Such a baller.
Yeah.
Saliba was
he was excellent.
He was special.
Yeah,
he was special,
really
and might be one game sample. We've never seen him before in terms of bonus side of it, but he looked like it could be a bonus magnet at 4.5.
Yes.
Again, if I was wildcarding Saliba at 4.5, I'd be very tempted. But I'd probably want to see another game and see what Zinchenko does. If Zinchenko plays left wing back again, like he did, which was basically how he was, 5 million's a bargain, no city tax. He was great. Martinelli's just amazing. And
so how much are we taking then from these small sample sizes that we've got? We've got one. We're only one game in. I mean, I'm not willing to. The one thing I did too soon last year was to play my wildcard. I played it really early. The second one it was. I played that really early. Very detrimental to the way I finished the season. I think that there's still enough time for me to take in more, and I'm still interested to see who's really going to stick their hand up in the 5 to 6 million. Because, am I going to need to restructure? Because do you think big at the back's going to work for long term? Do you think it's as fun as people are going to need it to be? Or do you think there's enough in like 4.5, 5 millions that we can, we'll take a couple of premiums at the back, chuck in our 4.5s, have some fun in the midfield? Because
I think,
how do you get to a top 3-man strike force with fun midfielders? Because at the moment I'm sitting here with Salah, Martinelli, and Bailey, right? And I've got no flexibility on that. I've got Andreas and I've got Sean Longstaff as well.
When the game opened, my immediate thoughts were we're going to all end up 5-2-3. That was my immediate thoughts. Values at the back and some fun at the front. I'm not sure we don't end up that way.
That's going to be such a polarizing difference to what we're used to as like a 3-5-2. This is what makes sense.
The thing on it is, though, as much as I say it, when midfielders go off, it's so big.
It's United. United are the ones.
Gross they're the ones that 15 points though today. Like he's the top scorer the entire week. Is Gross on 15. Yeah. Salah gets 12. For what he gets. Kulusevski gets 13. Jorginho gets 11 points. And So then I do think every season midfielders will just emerge. So in my brain, if I was wildcarding now, I'd want 3 forwards, but I don't really want to give up the defenders. So I could see myself doing something like a 4-3-3 or 5-2-3. 5-2-3 makes it easiest to afford them because the 3 strikers right now I want is Darwin, Jesus, and Haaland. And how the hell do I afford them? Plus Salah.
Yeah.
Really difficult, I think, at the moment, unless you were playing maybe Pereira every week, and if it comes to that where you're like, well, maybe, but what if these midfield options keep going? What if Kulusevski gets more 10-pointers? What if Saka doesn't play right wing back? What if Foden and Grealish
play every
game and start scoring? And it's like, that would really put me off the wild card, is the fact that I'd want to go away, I think, from a lot of the midfielders. And then Maddison, Diaz, all of these type of players could suddenly start pushing me my money back there. And then if you need to push money back into different formations, then that's when you just go hit. So I think if you're an aggressive manager, fine. But if you're not an aggressive, so I'm not an aggressive manager. So if I wildcarded now, I'll be going against kind of the way that I play to have to try and get back.
Yeah.
But if you were the sort of guy that was like, I want a wild card now, because the benefit of wild card now is we've got a week to the next set of games. We've then got another week to the next set of games. So if they're good, they'll play again.
Yeah.
There's no fitness rotation. It's just if you're good, you're playing. And then you've got another set of games. So you've got 4 game weeks of just week to week to week to week. But then you go, game week 5 is in the midweek, and then game week 6 goes, and then we've got Champions League. And we just don't know what that impact's going to be. And I think that I would prefer to keep in the pack.
You feel close to a wild card in that sense then?
Nah, not till 6, 7, 8. I don't see it at the moment.
Okay.
Because I don't think I'm aggressive enough.
Is there anyone then foregoing wild card? Is there anyone that you want in that you don't have, that you can't reach? I mean, for example, would you downgrade? Like, who's your back line?
James and Cancelo and Trent. No.
Yeah. Okay.
So Perisic is the 4th.
So who's your 5th?
Neco.
Oh, yeah, okay. If it was 4-5 rather than 4.
Yeah. But it's not. They're there. And if do I think Perisic is in by Wolves game? Yes.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
And then it's got Wolves Forest. Yeah. Mate, you're sending him up against Neco Williams at Forest. You are sending him up against Neco Williams.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I think because I've already got that third. I think because I've already got that third striker, I can get to Nunez a bit easier. It just feels
you can do.
So it feels easier that I can. I mean, maybe I have to forego the points for the Palace game, but then I'll have 7.5 million, and I'll probably need 9.1. So I'll probably need to make 2 million somewhere.
Would I be thinking about 3 forwards if Diaz had put in one of his 4 chances?
Well, probably not.
Whatever he was, probably not. And then I look at his fixtures and think, probably won't.
Yeah, and he's going to be in and around that anyway again. Definitely.
And if he's not good this weekend, Kulu's got Wolves and then Forest.
Kulu's going to be 8-1, 8-2 by then. You've got your 0.5 in the bank, though, haven't you? No, you don't.
No. Blind that stuff.
It's funny how you went from Saturday. We were chatting on Saturday. You had like no, forget the 0.5 in the bank. You just rearranged. Then midweek you were like, I've got 0.5 in the bank, and then you went away. And I was kind of the other way around completely.
Yeah.
And I ended up with 0.5 in the bank in the end. I could have had 2 mil in there if I'd have just gone for the.
I've seen people with 1 mil, 2 mil, and I'm like, fine, it's do what you need to do. But I don't mind taking hits early on.
The easiest way for me to get to Nunez is to go Ederson to Iverson, and then go up. That's the easiest way for me to get there. Wilson to Nunez, genuinely.
But
But I just couldn't justify. I couldn't justify the Edison move away. Just the fixtures were too good. Obviously, the clean sheet today was great. I don't expect them to concede next week, etc., etc., etc.
I think what we saw, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, are teams that are defensively minded. That I say defensively minded in different ways. You know, Arsenal can shift a defense and forgo attack. Chelsea will control games. That's what they want to do. City will strangle games. It's a very different defensively minded in the way that they will play out games. Having a keeper from one of those three teams to me feels just so sensible.
Yeah.
And there's very little bonus. So in the keeper stakes, only one keeper got a single point of bonus all weekend. Who was that?
Edison.
1 point. No heroes this weekend.
Yeah.
Clean sheets matter.
Yeah.
Good defenders, good teams. Keep coming. Those mid-price midfielders, no.
Not there for you yet. Cool, man. Cool.
Not there for me yet.
I think we're there. So thank you to everyone that's joined us in the chat this evening. Really appreciate it. Please do before you leave, if you wouldn't mind, and if you have enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We've also opened up memberships as well. So if you're interested in helping to support the channel, then there are ways in which you can do that as well. And we would obviously be eternally grateful. And we'll probably give you more stuff as well. So we're working on all of that. I got that
wrong. I just remembered actually. Yeah, Sanchez got one bonus as well, didn't he?
Oh, did he? Okay.
Sanchez and Edison.
Yeah. There you go. You've been. Yeah. Come on, mate. We've got a reputation on bonus.
Damn it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, but again, thanks a lot for coming along, guys. And for those on the podcast, thank you for listening. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week, mate.
Catch you later, mate.